What's up YouTube? So this is the second video we're doing in the rendering series about how to render a house or how to render a wall, whatever you want to call it. Now in the first video what we looked at was setting the beads, so the corner beads around the windows. We looked briefly at doing bell casts and overlead flashing as well. Now it's at the point where we are looking at controlling the suction. Now there are three really main ways of doing that. The first way is to obviously spray the wall down with water. If you're using brand spanking new lightweight concrete blocks like render blocks, then you could probably get away with just spraying them down, or you can use SBR. The other way is to use a product which is called Rendergrip, which is this stuff here. Now currently in summer 2021 this stuff here is in short supply, whether it's because of COVID or whether because we're in the UK, I have no idea, but I think Everbuild and Seeker make this stuff. You can get it in 10-litre tubs. This stuff is brilliant, and by far and away it's always our go-to way of controlling the suction. It is way better. What I would say with this is a top plastering / rendering hack, and that is that you want to mix a tub of this, so half Rendergrip, half SBR. Not only will it go on way easier, it goes way further, and SBR is cheaper than this, so it is also cheaper. So just like that shorts video we did with blue grit, where we said about 5 litres of blue grit to 5 litres of PVA glue, it's exactly the same with Rendergrip. So 5 litres of Rendergrip to 5 litres of SBR, mix that up. You will want to use like a paint stirrer in a drill because it actually takes quite a while to mix in. If you did it by hand, it's really hard to do it properly, but it makes a huge difference to how fast it is to apply it. On new brickwork or new blockwork you can roller it on, however on the house that we're on, the render's been hacked off, so actually you have to brush it on, which is a pain. That said, there is another way, and unfortunately it is the way that we are going to have to use today to control the suction, and that is to use a slurry coat. We very rarely use slurry coats, to be honest with you, mainly because it's the pain in the backside, and it's just not as good as Rendergrip. It's not a big deal because, to be honest, as long as you rule off as you go scratching, it's fine. But what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to show you how to make the slurry coat. So it will be neat SBR with sand and cement. Now what I will say is that the tub that I just showed you, there is a bit of Rendergrip left in there, so I am just going to mix the slurry coat in with that, so mine will naturally look red, but if we didn't have that Rendergrip in there it would look very grey. But what we'll do is we'll just show you the process of making your own slurry coat. But I would say is that if you can get either Seeker or Everbuild Rendergrip, use that over neat SBR or a slurry coat. It's just a lot easier. But let's look into the process of how we make a slurry coat. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see this. This is currently, this has got SBR and Rendergrip in it. Now naturally, as you leave it for a while, I think we haven't used this in about a month, the SBR actually does tend to come to the top, which is what the white stuff is. But we're just going to mix the slurry coat in with the Rendergrip, so it's no big deal. But the first thing to do, and this is a big house, so it's going to take quite a lot of gear, so we're going to just put quite a generous amount of SBR straight in this. So Louis is going to pour some in there now. Now generally when you're doing a lot of rendering, you want to use big tubs of SBR. So this here is 25 litres of SBR. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Halfway. So that's about half full. This is a lot easier if you just use a paint stirrer, but I left it in our lockup, so my bad. I'm just going to mix this in a little bit, just to mix in some of the Rendergrip. And then what we're going to do is, the next thing you want to add is some sand. So Lou's pour some of that in. So the thing with the sand gives grip. So decent amount of sand. Bit more. Bit more. Bit more. That'll do. Okay. We're going to mix that in. And the next thing, and this is probably the most important part, is cement. Cement is what makes it go very, very hard. So this, we're going to add cement until it goes nice and thick and kind of almost like Rendergrip consistency. So Louis, do you want to chuck in a load of cement? Now, because we're doing the whole house, we're doing loads of slurry coat. They say if we hadn't used Rendergrip, if there wasn't Rendergrip at the bottom of this tub, you would expect this to be a very, very dark grey. But the consistency you're looking for is quite a thick, almost like a very thick, almost like Sandex, the exterior paint, a bit like that. And then what we're going to do once we've done that is then brush this on. While we're doing this, just to kind of also, when it comes to addressing the prep work of the house, you'll notice that the windows currently are not taped up. I don't recommend that. In reality, that is probably something you should definitely do before putting a slurry coat on. Again, I just forgot to get the tape protector. So what we're going to do is we're just not going to go anywhere near the windows. So we're not going to do the slurry coat around the reveals today, just in case we get any mess on the windows. What we would say is if you do get any mess on the windows, make sure you clean it off straight away. What we're going to do is I'm going to mix this through, and then once it's about the right consistency, we'll come back and show you when it's done. Okay, so now the SBR has been mixed up. You can see it in the bucket here. Now you will notice, as I've already mentioned, this has a slight purpley colour to it. It does not normally look like this. It looks normally very, very dark grey where the cement is being mixed in with the SBR. And then all you want to do is just apply that to the wall. Now because this is, the walls are so rough, we're going to do it by hand with a brush. If the bricks are in neater condition, you could get away with doing this with a roller, but if you went over this with a roller, it would just be so inconsistent, the results. You'd end up going over it with a brush anyway, just filling in where you haven't been. So you're really looking to work in where you've been. And then if you have a look in the light, you can just see where the aggregate is, and that's where the sand is. And so it's got a twofold property here. So the SBR is what is killing the suction, and the sand is what is giving it the grip, and the cement is what makes it go hard. So that is just a basic way of getting a decent slurry coat when Rendergrip isn't available. But as we've already mentioned, Rendergrip is a much better product. It is designed for killing suction. You'll get much more time on your scratch coat if you use Rendergrip. So we thoroughly recommend, if it's available, buy it. Unfortunately, as I say, in the United Kingdom at this time, there's a massive shortage of Rendergrip. So we couldn't get any, so we've had to make it. But that basically is how you make a decent slurry coat. I say it wants to be quite thick, like this consistency of Sandex, like the exterior paint, and then just work that on the wall. So what we're going to do, Lou and I, we're just going to start applying this to the wall. What we'll do is we'll catch up once we've got all this on. So that really is it. We've just finished applying the slurry coats pretty much all of the side of this back section of the house. Took about an hour or so, and if I was to show you the close-up, certainly this bottom section now has dried. Now, as I've mentioned already at the start, this has got a bit of Rendergrip in it as well, just because that's what was in the bucket. so it wouldn't be this deep purple, very dark purpley brown colour. But the consistency is about right for a slurry coat. If you look really carefully, you can see the sand in it, and you can see it's gone really hard. That's the sort of finish you're looking for with a slurry coat, where it's really sealing in that that top surface of the brickwork. So you've got a good key. The SBR is doing its job in killing the suction, and it's very, very hard from the cement. So if you've got all those three things together, that is usually a good sign of a decent slurry coat. It is worth noting the slurry coat, it usually does take quite a long time to apply, because you have to be quite careful, because you don't really want it going anywhere that it's not supposed to go. So you don't want it on windows or windowsills, or you know, somebody's low-level roof or something like that. So you do have to take your time. Here it's a concrete slab that we're working on, so it's not a massive deal if we drop anything. What the homeowner's going to do with that, I have no idea, but they're not massively fussed about the floor, but it is good practice to cover it up. But that really is the end of the preparation side of this house. Obviously Louis will go throughout the rest of the house, the side and the front, doing the slurry coating over the next few days, but then we'll start scratch coating. So really the next part of this rendering series will be us getting the gauges for the scratch coat, and then applying that scratch coat. So stay tuned and look out for the video when it comes out. Possibly consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you enjoy the content, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks again.